Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Deplorables. Thank you again for joining me here on LibertyOneTV.com. Those of you that are watching on the different Facebook Live pages, Periscope, welcome to the show. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always go on Twitter at ET Talk Show or Deplorables Show, or you could go on YouTube. Not YouTube, I'm getting away from them. On Facebook at The Deplorables Show, or on Real.video at Deplorables. That's where I'm going to be switching the videos. So from YouTube over to Real.video, and it's going to be Deplorables. Just look that up and you'll see the show. So thank you again for joining me. We're here Monday through Friday to make sure that you, the Deplorables, the irredeemable, the undesirable people whose opinions should not be heard because we're racist, we're anti-immigrant, we're Islamophobic, we just don't matter anymore, even though we won in 2016, and we're going to come together and win in 2020. The thing that scares me the most when it comes to just general political observations is a majority of the millennials. Why? Because my generation, Generation X, we made the mistake of making sure our children never experienced any pain, that they never were disappointed. And then we sent them to, we homeschooled, but a lot of you sent your kids to the public school system, and they were not the best athlete or the smartest kid, so they were given a participation trophy in sports just so they were no different than the kid that actually was the best and put in the most effort. Or valedictorian. Some schools have gotten rid of the smartest kid because it would make the other kids feel inferior. Now, this age, which I think is between like 18 and 28 or somewhere in there, they're now voting age, obviously, and they're being courted by Cortez and Bernie and the progressives to try to fill the gap between a little bit of energy in the older progressives. Then there's this gap, and then they're just hoping that they can go after high school age kids that are 18 going into college that have bought into this idea that there's no hope, there's no opportunities, college is unaffordable, medical is unaffordable, no jobs, and so the government's going to have to fix this. They have to fix the wrongs that the baby boomers and my generation have done by still trying to hold on to capitalism. That whoever is the most talented should get the job. Whoever works hard can work through adversities and get promoted or start a business with little money and succeed. That those things, well, they exist, but they take so much effort. So much effort to be disadvantaged, to grow up in a white family or a black family or a Mexican family and have to mow yards, save up money, start a business. Man, it's just so much. So it would be so much easier if the government would go into these terrible rich people and take some more of their money and just spread it around. That would be the way to do it. So we're going to talk about that today. But I'm going to start off the show with a summation of what we covered yesterday. I had some sound issues, so don't know if the first part of the show, if this was covered. So I'm going to cover it again. The wall on the southern border has to be built, period. It has to be built. Without the wall, the rest of the immigration policies, the rest of them, are worthless. They're worthless. Thousands of people pour across annually. There's an article here that a guy snuck some Jordanian illegal immigrants across the border. We have crime. We've got the drug cartel. We have all kinds of things that are taking place on the border. And if we're going to try to tackle the H-1B visas and the visa overstays and chain migration, it doesn't really matter if there's thousands of more people pouring across, some criminals, some child sex slavery, drugs. So one of the main reasons why President Trump was elected was because he was going to build the wall. So we're going on almost getting close to what, year and 9 months into President Trump's presidency. Some portions are being built of the wall, but there's no funding for it. So there's something called a continuing resolution, which is what the Congress has been using to keep the government funded, because they have not sat down, went through an entire budget, passed it, and had it signed into law since Bill Clinton was in office. They just keep continuing resolutions and continuing resolutions. And that's why our deficit gets higher and higher, because no one's really, oh man, it's 19 trillion, now 20 trillion, getting close to 21 trillion. Because there's no budget. There's nothing in place that says government broke and the budget that's it. We can't spend any more money. Continuing resolution is we're broke. Let's just pass a 3-month continuing resolution, which lets us borrow a little bit more money, and in 3 months we can go borrow 3 more months worth or 6 more months. So last time they did this, about 3 months ago, the Democrats in the rhinos basically forced President Trump to avoid a government shutdown, which, if you don't know, the government doesn't shut down. Okay? What happens is that the non-essential people, the people whose jobs will not dramatically affect the citizens, in the code and in the legislation, they just won't go to work during this shutdown. It has nothing to do with the military, the police, or essential services. So when someone tells you the government's going to shut down, it's a lie. It's severely over-exaggerating what happens. But it does get the attention of the American citizens. So President Trump said, look, I don't like what you guys are giving me to sign, but I want the military funded. So he signed the continuing resolution and said, I'm not going to sign something like this again, so you better fix the immigration issue and the other issues. Of course, they're not, because they don't. So here we are. We're coming up on September. Guess what happens in September? They need to get another continuing resolution. They need to borrow more money because they haven't passed a budget. So we knew this was coming, okay? This is no surprise. Question, who's running the Senate and the House in the United States Capitol? The Republicans. Republicans could get the funding for the wall done because they could force it to be in this continuing resolution if the pet projects by the liberals also want to get paid. So you think that's what they're going to do? Because the overwhelming proof is that a majority of Americans want the wall built. From Hispanic to Black Americans to Asian Americans to everybody. Why? Because it just makes sense. So do you think it's going to happen? Well, I showed you this yesterday from Gateway Pundit. Speaker Ryan and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, they're going to stick it to President Trump because in an interview that they did with McConnell did with the radio station, they are not going to force the funding for the wall in the continuing resolution. Since they're the ones that set the agenda, they're the ones that set the expectation. As of right now, they don't have any intention of putting it in. Here is the worst scenario. They don't put it in. President Trump signs it. We don't turn out like we're going to, but let's say we don't and we lose the House. There will be no more bills that will get up to the Senate that will contain funding for the wall. And the Democrats' hope is that President Trump loses 2020 and the wall will never be built, and there'll be little segments that'll be sitting there. That's what we can't allow to happen. Very simple. If the wall gets built, everything changes. Everything changes. The flow stops. We can then look inside who's inside the country. We can then stop giving checks to illegal aliens in America, stop welfare. We can enforce E-Verify. There's going to be a big self-deportation back into Mexico. all because of the wall. Now, someone told me that the wall won't work. Okay, well, is that really what you think happens here? Well, look at this. Kathy, I am wacky Griffin, right? You know who she is? She's the one that had the decapitated head of President Trump, and she got kind of booted out of the circuit for a while. Well, there's an article here in Breitbart. Kathy Griffin built a wall on her $10 million mansion to block a Trump supporting neighbor. Okay, does anything seem kind of crazy there, right? Why did she build a wall? To keep a neighbor out. Is that why they have a fence around the White House? Is that why Zuckerberg has a 6-foot wall around his huge property in Hawaii? Because walls work. Well, let's continue in this article here on one of the biggest hypocrites in America right now. Hey, Trump-hating comedian Kathy Griffin recently admitted that she built a wall at her $10.5 million mansion to shield herself from a neighbor who supported the president after her controversial photo showing her hoisting Donald Trump's bloody, severed head. Griffin appeared in a video tour of her palatial California estate with YouTube star Shane Dawson earlier this month. At one point during the recording, Griffin admitted she had been feuding with her neighbor, KB Home CEO Jerry Mesger, especially after she debuted the severed head. I have a neighbor on this side, and for some reason, ever since my Trump picture, he stands there and screams, "Hey, you effing blank, you effing blank," which she said. So we kind of built like a little, as Trump would say, we built a wall. I'm not for a Trump supporter, but we built a wall. So this is what I always ask progressives. Do you lock your car? Do you lock the front door of your house? Why did Kathy Griffin build a wall? Why did Zuckerberg build a wall? Why does the White House have a fence in front of it? Because walls work. The globalists know, working through the rhinos, McConnell and Ryan, and through the Democratic Party, that wall, the wall on the southern border, just cannot be built. It can't happen. So as of right now, there's no expectation except for us and our president that there will be. But let me show you a little video here of what the Border Patrol is saying, because they're the ones that are having to deal with this inferior wall that's kind of there and open spaces. And then we can continue to discuss, do we need the wall?
We don't have fences or borders because we dislike the people on the other side of it. We have fences and borders because we love the people that are on this side of it. The fencing is an enhancement to agent safety. We've been seeing an increase in agent assaults this year. They're at an all-time high.
East of Don Roos, about 150 yards north.
Every Border Patrol agent I know comes to work every single day with the intent on protecting their community. We face all types of threats from the south side. The smuggling cartels that smuggle aliens are the exact same people that smuggle the narcotics, and they're very heavily armed, and they don't have any problem using deadly force. And we're going to go ahead and drive real slow along the border, look for any evidence that anyone's crossed one of these roads, and if we find any foot sign, we'll follow it until we find whoever caused it. A lot of beauty in the desert. And you know, there are days where you're absolutely, at some point during the day, you're absolutely terrified.
Yeah, copy. 119 will be clear, O'Neill.
And then there are some days where you know you're trying to fight the boredom and you know, get through the shift. Working with the Border Patrol, you're providing public safety not only for the people in the direct border areas, but for the interior. We have lots of people that cross the border that have prior convictions in the United States for crimes ranging from drug offenses to murder. You'll generally work into the sun, with the sun in your face. It's a little easier to catch the foot sign that way. And then if you detect the entry, Then you just, call it in and start following it. I've always had a desire to be in law enforcement. Prior to the Border Patrol, I spent 6 years in the U.S. Army, and protecting my country and being a part of that has always motivated me. I love my work. I love what I do. I know that when I come to work, I have a purpose every day. And the best days for me are the days when I'll arrest someone and we take them back to the station, process them, run their fingerprints, and I find out that that person was a really bad guy. And no barrier is a be-all, end-all that's going to prevent all illegal activity. However, what it does is it allows us time to interdict the attempt to enter the country illegally, and it acts as a speed bump. It was much harder to control the area before the primary fencing. The human smuggling organizations basically ran wild. There are areas right now that really need some sort of barrier, whether it's fencing or a quote-unquote wall. There are areas that are virtually unpoliced, and they create these pathways for people to come into the country illegally, and people whose purposes aren't known. I'd say this is absolutely necessary. Any country that's not willing to protect its own people by securing its borders isn't doing a very good job of public safety.
Okay, so do you think the Border Patrol wants a wall? Yes or no? Well, these are guys that are trying to protect our country, and they're for a wall. And besides what you just heard, here is a story that I just found here on Gateway Pundit. Jordanian national arrested for smuggling 6 Yemenis across the U.S. border with Mexico. Question, do we want to know who this Jordanian's, what side he might be on, and the Yemenis that he's coming across the border with? So do we need a wall? Well, I don't know, just 6 people. We don't know if they're coming over here just to work at a restaurant. We don't know what their motives are. I know, but shouldn't we be able to decide that for our own, since it's our country? Well, let's see how this article goes. Jordanian national Moyad Haider Mohammed Al-Dari was arrested this week for allegedly smuggling 6 Yemenis across the U.S. border with Mexico. Al-Dari was arrested for his smuggling trips across the Texas border. Let's see, a Jordanian national who allegedly smuggled 6 Yemenis across the border, was arrested Saturday, according to the Department of Justice. He was given an arrest warrant following a criminal complaint on May 29th for the supposed smuggling trips through the Texas border between July 1st and December 12th. Well, there's another reason why we need a border wall, right? I would think so. Well, look at this here. Do you think the government should shut down if the continuing resolution does not come with a funding for the wall? Well, let's see. The Border Patrol President Brandon Judd says, I support shutting down government for border security. So the Border Patrol President, me, millions of other people are like, you know what? At this point, let's go ahead and let's close it down. Let's shut down let's just go ahead and not pass the continuing resolution, which would then force the American people to have to decide let me see if I have here the poll Trump tweet. Remember this one from yesterday? President Trump, we must have border security, get rid of chain lottery, catch and release, sanctuary cities, go to a merit-based immigration, protect ICE, law enforcement, and, of course, keep building, but much faster, the wall. So the Border Patrol president says it's okay with our group if the government gets shut down until the continuing resolution has funding for a wall. You saw the video of the Border Patrol agents. President Trump says he's okay with shutting the government down. The only downside is President Trump had said the same thing last time for the continuing resolution, but he went ahead and signed it because he wanted to get the military funded. So here we are. We're tomorrow is August 1st. November is the election. September is when the government has to have the new continuing resolution signed to continue funding. Need you to call the White House, call your senators and House members and say, you know what? The wall must be funded in this continuing resolution, period. If we don't, and the House goes Democratic, the wall will not get built until we get another House, which is at least 2 more years away. It's that crucial. If it's not built, we lose the House, it won't be built. Well, we're going to do a red wave in November. Great. And I'm expecting it, but there's a possibility that we may barely lose the House. Then we won't control the committees. And when we don't control the committees, they're going to stop investigating Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Strzok and Page and all these people. That's how crucial 2018 is for everything. Are you upset? Does it make you want to scream? Is it unbelievable that McConnell and Ryan would say, well, we're just not going to be able to get that in this year? Why is that acceptable? I don't understand. The only way I can understand it is that they don't want the wall built. McConnell does not want the wall built. Period. Ryan does not want the wall built. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they imply. I don't care how Ryan sits there with this, I am a super intellect and I'm going to do this really calculated speech. Well, that sounds kind of like what Obama did, where they calculate it. They try to talk in little sound bites and try to sound like, well, we've got this plan and we just have to follow it because the American people, I hate when rhinos say the American people want. We want a wall. So the millennials, we're going to bring them up now because what's happening is the greatest generation is getting older. Unfortunately, some of them are passing away. The Gen Xers like mine, we're getting older. We're in our 50s now, late 50s and even 40s. So we're the kind of a main driver behind the seniors. But behind us is this group of millennials that are getting targeted by the left. Do you have millennial children? I do. Do you have any? Have you seen any videos? Have you seen interviews? Do you know anything about them? Because this is my summation of them. Not all of them. We have some great conservative millennials. But a lot of the ones that the liberals are going after went to college, at least some college. They want free college, though. They want their debt forgiven, or if they go back to college, they want it paid for. They want free medical. They want a free basic universal income. They really don't want to know what happens in abortions because they just don't want to talk about it because that's it puts them out of their safe space. They've created safe spaces. They don't want to go to war, but they don't want to tell people what gender they are, and they don't want to say jokes. They don't even want to allow jokes on campus. Okay? They think about it. Colleges can't have comedians that come on campus anymore because somebody may get their feelings hurt. So this group could be the group that could change us over to the dark side, because these are the ones that were Bernie Sanders supporters, Cortez's supporters in her district. But I wanted to go over, who are they? Do they understand anything? Do they even know why they don't like Trump, or are they up to speed on anything? Are they educated, at least if they're going to try to vote, that they're going to know something, so they're doing it for a purpose, not just because they want free stuff. They don't want the government, they want a government that'll give them a $15 an hour guaranteed job plus medical benefits, even though right now we have more jobs than people to take them in America. Do we want a group of people that live in technology? They live up in the, a lot of them work in tech, where I spoke about yesterday. Thiel, who was a billionaire Trump supporter, says that the Silicon Valley is becoming like North Korea when it comes to lack of free speech. See, this group of liberal millennials, that's okay for the government to start to erode free speech. It's okay for the government to take guns, because everything needs to be controlled by the government. It's the only way things can be right. They don't believe in God. They don't really believe in marriage. They don't believe in defining sexuality. They just kind of like exist. They exist in this YouTube world, this social media world. And as long as the government is correcting wrongs and they are not unpopular or out of the mainstream in the new millennial world, they're happy. So the government has to really be there as this big safety net, because they don't have a problem with illegal immigration. Oh, come on, man. You can go clean my toilets and mow the yard. I didn't have to when I was a kid because my parents spoiled me like I did my kids. Yeah, oh, you do the jobs I don't want to do. And then if I can't find the job that I want, I will just go to the government and say, you owe me a job, because that technology took the job I wanted, and I wanted to be a job painting. I want it to be an exotic fruit painter, and nobody will pay me for this. So I'm going to need a guarantee, and I really don't want to work hard. So if you could just give me some money, overpay me for something, then I can sit around and play video games and talk to my pseudo friends about how there's no gender, no this, no that, in our safe space, to make sure that nobody gets their feelings hurt. So this is the group we cannot allow to ruin our country. We cannot allow them to, because of their votes, put the progressives over the top, and then we then live in a country that, as we age and the young generation below them has to deal with the ramifications of their decisions, we can't allow this to happen. Now you're like, well, that's you're kind of picking on them. Well, let me show you some videos here, okay? I want you to understand what I'm talking about, because they don't have a problem, this group, with someone busting up Donald Trump's star in Hollywood. They don't have a problem with somebody, Antifa beating up people because they want to go speak at a college, or beat up Trump supporters. They don't have a problem with this violence. Do you see? And at the colleges, they're forcing, UC Santa Cruz, the black youth in this group, they were able to mandate and force the university to give them segregated dorms, because they didn't want to stay with white, Mexican, and Asian students. Here in Fresno, they had a orientation only for one ethnic class. Nobody else was allowed. So it's okay in this millennial world to do stuff like that. Violence, segregation, as long as everybody's happy in the end somehow. Everyone somehow gets what they want. No one's feelings is hurt. Nobody has really more than the next person. That's why they're okay with high taxes, income redistribution, because they want everyone to be happy, no one to be sad, no one to be stressed. And yet they have the ability, through the constitutional right to vote, to dramatically change our country. So let's go ahead and let me show you some videos here. This is Mark Dice and Campus Reform, who this group of voters are, and maybe this will encourage you even more to make sure that you're ready to vote. So here's some millennial meltdown.
Guru comrades are going to North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Y'all know there's an uprising going on over there, and we are going. And you know what? One thing I can't stand about when these, uprisings happen, people want to call them riots and looting, but I call it uprisings, okay? White people say, they get on my mother effing nerve. The first thing that white people like to say is, well, what's all that looting? Why are they looting? Why are they taking things and all this other kind of stuff? You ain't seen looting until you see my black ass. I'm loot, bitch. That's how you think I got here in America. We is loot. So when my looted black ass takes anything, that's called forceful reparations, girl. When black and colonized and oppressed people want to unite and come together, then we gotta believe in these colonial imaginary borders that you created for us.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Because it's time to unite. So please help me and my comrades get to North Carolina so we can bring revolutionary trajectory, organization, and unity to North Carolina. And we will be live streaming the whole time.
Did it, Patrick? We saved the city. Just think what might have happened if we didn't tell everyone about the monster.
About the what?
I know it feels really bad right now.
I know I feel scared and I feel alone.
Whatever you feel right now, the emotions, they're valid.
The only thing I can do is stand here and tell you that you're not alone.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Standing by you in solidarity throughout this.
Now is the time where it's really important for you to stand your ground and say,
it just takes so much work and so much patience.
You don't have to do this alone.
We are so with you.
We're with you.
This is not where we stop fighting or loving or hugging.
Things will get better because we are the ones that are going to make sure that that happens.
So wait a minute. You're telling me that Donald Trump won the election, right? Now, what does that mean for me as a black man? That means that I'm going to get a good job. I like being broke. I don't want a good job. And what? He's gonna do what? He's gonna lower my taxes? And I like paying high taxes. I don't make but what, $18,000 a year, and he's gonna raise my taxes. What else is he gonna do? He's gonna secure the borders. You mean to tell me I can't hang out with my illegal immigrant friends? They're gonna close all of the beauty supply stores. Where am I going to get my fake earrings from? Where am I going to get where's my girl going to get her weave from if they deport her? What?
Okay, so there you go. That's plenty of that. So there's your millennials. You're not alone. We're together. We're gonna be okay. How are they going to survive? How are they going to have? Well, they're not going to have families. When I talk to them, I'm not going to have children. They tell me I'm not going to have children. I'm going to skip the children thing. It's crazy world. I'm not going to bring them into this, and so they're all just kind of avoiding the relationships, leaving everything open ended. But yet, when you look at a Bernie Sanders rally, they show up, or up at the Star, where Trump's Star got defamed on the Hollywood sidewalk. There's a couple of guys filming it, and the millennials show up, and the legal aliens, and they start punching them, beating them up, fighting. So it's a weird dynamic. Part of them are Antifa. Part of them are because they're looking for a family. They're looking for a cause. And then you have the rest of them that are like, it's okay, you're not alone. In America, you obviously can have your own views. You can, guy wants to wear a dress or whatever. But when it comes to voting, when it comes to civics, when it comes to taking away people's rights, trying to force your opinion on other people. That's just flat out wrong, but they're too stupid to know it. So here, I want to show you how dumb they are. Now, if you're just watching this, my name's Eric Thompson. This is the Deplorables. Keep in mind, this is just a group of the millennials that are being targeted by the Democratic Socialist Party now to try to vote for them, to vote with them as a bloc, to prevent the wall from being built, to keep open borders, to force there to be basic universal income where everybody gets a paycheck just for being a citizen. Now, you'll see they don't know how to pay for that. But they want all this stuff and everyone get along and no bad jokes and no sense of humor. And we can't let this group decide our future. So here is Mark Dice, and he's down at the beach, and he's talking to millennials.
Who won the Civil War?
We did.
Who won the Civil War?
I don't know.
Are you an American?
Yeah.
Okay, it was a big popular historical event. Hold on a second. Got to ruin it for us. Okay. Civil War.
Okay.
Who won the Civil War?
I have no idea.
Are you an American?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are. Okay. It was this big historical event that happened in America's history, and it was a big war. It started Veterans Day. Can you tell me anything about it?
Can you give me a choice?
It would be the South or the North?
The North?
You're just guessing?
Yeah.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay, we gotta go. Thank you. She'll explain everything to you.
God damn, I'm gonna be on some show and I'm gonna look like a f***ing idiot.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna look like a dummy. Pants.
Who won the Civil War? I don't know.
In America, the Civil War.
I'm not sure.
You're not. Are you an American?
Yes.
You are. Were you born here?
Yeah, near LA. Yeah.
That explains a lot.
I don't know that.
Who won the Civil War?
America.
Well, I'll just wait here and maybe it'll come up and.
I don't know that question. What is this for?
Who won the Civil War? Come on. Pop quiz.
We're not gonna do this right now.
Who won the Civil War?
The North. The Union, technically.
Okay,
there you go. Not the Confederates, yeah.
Which political party was fighting to support slavery during the Civil War? Republicans or the
Republicans? Republicans.
Actually, it was the Democrats.
How?
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln didn't.
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's contrary to popular belief. The liberal media has brainwashed so many people that have lost touch with history and reality.
Wow. I feel like I missed that in history class.
Yeah, your liberal professors probably just wanted to sweep that one under the rug.
All right.
So we're just out here exposing reality. Who won the Civil War?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Are you an American?
Oh, the Norse, right? I'm Canadian, but...
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, at least he knows. Canadians know. Our neighbors to the north, a little bit more informed than many Americans.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. Does that kind of open your eyes a little bit? Man, that's crazy. So make sure you go on YouTube to Mark Dice and follow him. He does a lot of great work. So, not really dialed in. They don't really know much. Just kind of smile. Don't know what to say. Just kind of oh, dude, you're going to make me try to know something. This is why I think the Department of Education needs to be shut down, and education needs to get sent back to the local areas because the school systems are failing with the federal government being responsible for educating the children. That's why if you have children in colleges, you need to get them out of these progressive colleges. I'll do a show this week on hate in the colleges, but it's going to be hate against men, white people, the conservatives, and what colleges you should not be sending your kids to. To kind of go along with this, let me show you this. There's an article here about what happens when people, we did this show yesterday on immigration, and when people come over, should they assimilate? Well, this is part of for these people that come over, don't assimilate, get their green cards, get their citizenship, and stay non-assimilated, then you get this kind of mentality too, where there was an article from the Huffington Post. Asian Americans, instead of assimilating, let's celebrate our differences. Heritage is what keeps minorities safe and makes it like a place that they feel safe and that they can grow their families. Millennials don't have a problem with this. You don't need assimilation. Sure, come over, get citizenship. Because they don't have a love for America. They're taught at college that America is bad, that America is the problem child of the world. We cause all the problems. We've always caused the problems. The only reason why America is powerful is because we stole all the resources from Africa and other continents. That's the only reason why. We're not smart. We didn't work hard. We're basically a bunch of rich white people that stole from people, and now we use our white privilege to keep minorities down. That's what they've been taught at college, being taught currently at college in the schools. As the schools are advancing, teaching classes on Islam, Buddhism, transcendental meditation, no Jesus, no Christianity, no prayer, no laws, no 10 Commandments. Those are out. But Islam, I don't want to be considered Islamophobic, so we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of wear hijab day at a high school, just so the girls can see that's not really oppression of women. You point out to them that they will throw homosexuals off buildings, Islam overseas and stuff like that. Oh, that's just a few radicals. They're so non-judgmental of certain religions and certain ideas. But boy, Trump supporter, Christian, white people, oh man, they're evil. Yeah, we should take away their free speech. Twitter, that's a good idea. Go ahead and take down those conservative posts because it's removing the joy out of our liberal community. Facebook, take down InfoWars and all these conservative sites because it's taken away from the happiness in our community. I've been saying this for a while. I'm convinced that Silicon Valley, which, like I said, is now compared the closed rankness and lack of free speech in the large corporations. I'm convinced that they've been working together to try to make sure that the Democrats win in 2018. They're taking down politicians that are running for House seats that are Republicans. They just keep taking this content down, hoping that the millennials who only get their information from social media, well, then they only hear the other side, the truth, that conservatives are bad and that they really can't be trusted. So you just have to listen to the Democratic Party and they will be able to fix it. Let's do one more little video here. Okay, so like I said, the millennials I'm talking about went through high school, college, partied, whatever, didn't really learn anything. They don't know why we celebrate the 4th of July. They don't know who we won our independence from. They don't know who the vice president is if you show them a picture. But don't know who Beyonce is and anybody else. They don't really take stands on things. It's all about don't let Ben Shapiro come to campus because someone's feelings will get hurt. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when Ben Shapiro and some of these conservative millennials and or late 30s come to campus, Steven Crowder, they actually have to have counselors on site. So if somebody was to hear part of Ben Shapiro, then they can immediately get counseling. When I did Uber up in the Bay Area after the election, I would pick up people and they would say, like at Google, that the managers in their departments did not go to work for a few days after the election because they needed to regroup. They needed to like find their peace again. And that's when some colleges and some of these people had to get a puppy so they could pet the puppies to try to find peace. Or some of them in colleges, they would have Play-Doh in their safe spaces on campus. We could go in and go back, and play with your Play-Doh and pet your puppies and try to get encouraged that the world is not falling apart. So think about it. On campuses, these are adults. They need a safe space. They need a place where they can go, even if they are total asinine the rest of the time. But when they enter the safe space, the whole environment is sterile. Nobody can challenge them on any of their stupid ideas. So they can just sit there. Everything goes in the safe space. It's like the Twilight Zone. Everything goes. Say what you want because there's no judgmentalism because you're in a safe space. Because if someone was to challenge you, if you said, I think that I'm a Martian and that Trump should be put through a meat grinder. Oh, okay, well, if that's what you feel, then that's okay. Or I transitioned from a man to a woman. Now I'm transitioning to a puppy. And this is my boyfriend now for me, this would be my girlfriend puppy because I transitioned to a dog. Well, okay, well, if that's what you feel like is, because it's all about feelings. That's why the commercials always have to deal with the Republicans want to push Granny off the side of the hill. The Republicans want to take away the woman's right to abort her child. The Republicans want to only help the rich people. Look at these poor people. Look at these poor women that need the reproductive rights. Look at, they're so sad. No one's helping them, but you can help them. Vote for Bernie Sanders for president. Well, here is Dice again. He's talking to the youth about their safe spaces.
Talking to millennials today about safe spaces.
Okay.
Can you help educate me about a safe space? What the hell is that?
Being in our bubble.
Can you tell us what a safe space is?
I mean, a place where you're not going to get hurt or ridiculed.
And so on a college campus, if there's people with like Halloween costumes that maybe make you feel uncomfortable, does that make it not safe anymore?
Yeah, that's not a safe place.
So that's violent. It's not safe at all to be just seeing those Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you saw like a white person wearing like a sombrero and that's not safe?
No, because that's ridicule. That's being made fun of. It's using that as a caricature.
And you're not joking, are you?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, times have really changed. I can't believe how insensitive these people are these days.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, wearing these costumes and trying to have fun on Halloween, I'm not sure where they think they can get that idea.
No clue.
You're still not joking, are you?
Still not joking.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just talking about the issues of the day. Can you explain what a safe space is to me?
A space where an individual feels free to express anything and everything.
Is incest acceptable in the safe space without being judgmental? If some folks want to practice incest, are they going to be welcomed in your safe space? If there are two consenting adults?
Like, if they're two consenting adults, I mean, I guess so.
So like if a father and his daughter were having a sexual relationship, as long as they were over 18, you wouldn't be judgmental, you would allow them in your safe space? They're part of the LGBT community?
If they both wanted to and were like within totally sober and cognitive
and
states of
consenting
mind,
adults?
yeah.
Okay. And you're not being sarcastic at all?
No, I'm not.
You're very serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people can do whatever they want.
All right. Hey, congratulations. If I were to make some sexist jokes, would that be a violation of your safe space?
Definitely.
It would?
Yes.
It wouldn't be funny at all?
No.
No. Sexist jokes, totally out of the question. Not funny.
Not funny.
Racist jokes?
Same. Not
terrible.
funny.
Not acceptable.
No.
What kind of jokes can we use today? that are still funny and not scary and offensive to you kids?
Well, ones that don't involve like a violation of humans, like that would disrespect any kind of people.
Jokes can't be disrespectful anymore.
No, not toward people.
Not towards people.
Yeah.
All right, so again, make sure you follow Mark Dice on Facebook and YouTube. Does a great job. I do enjoy his watching his information videos. Okay, real quick, I'm running out of time here. So the last thing is the millennials like, I mean, we've spoken about it, but I'm going to show you a quick video from Campus Reform. Millennials like all the free stuff, but who's going to pay for it? So let's go ahead and see what Ocasio and Bernie's supporters, when asked, who's going to pay for all this free stuff?
I'm Cabot Phillips with Campus Reform. Today we're in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's congressional district talking to her supporters about democratic socialism. Is it any different from regular socialism, and who's going to pay for all this free stuff? Let's see what they have to say. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, just elected, 28 years old, self-proclaimed democratic socialist, which has a lot of people talking. What are your views on her so far?
I mean, I've heard only positive things. We love her.
Yeah, we do love her. I voted for her because I'm from Queens.
It was great, and it's a breath of fresh air, and I hope it follows through into November.
I like her spirit, and that she's very different.
People tend to freak out when they hear the word socialism like applied to anything.
And why do you think that is?
I think there's this old way of thinking about it.
What do you think the government should be subsidizing? So her platform includes free healthcare, college tuition, the minimum living wage, housing as a human right. Are those things that you think the government should be providing for people?
Absolutely.
Are those things that you would support?
Yes, it is.
Are those all things that you would support the government subsidizing?
100%.
I feel like everyone should have like free education and healthcare.
How are we going to pay for those?
Oh God. I mean,
Us,
I guess.
Yeah. Who, in your mind, should pay for all of the free things?
All of the free things? Well, some of it should come from taxes, but the government should pay for it.
But the government is funded by taxes.
Yeah.
I don't know where the money would come from, but they can figure it out.
Okay. More taxes on the rich people.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, they can afford it.
Let's tax corporations, let's tax the 1%, and find a way to support a living wage.
The people with a good idea and a good reason to spend their tax money wouldn't mind actually paying more taxes.
There are so many of these countries out there that are employing a lot more socialism in their government and into their politics, and they're doing really well. So,
is Venezuela doing that?
Ooh, I don't know too much about Venezuela, honey. I think they need to. I mean, are they still communist right now?
So they're technically socialist.
Okay.
Look at other countries. It works. Like other countries, you pay higher taxes, but your government takes care of you.
So when you see the social system failing in Venezuela, does that concern you?
I mean,
yes. Obviously.
My family's Cuban, and like I've seen the downfall of like extreme leftism, but also like I see how it like boosts the community, and like it has its up and downs, and I think we can definitely learn from history on that terms.
Okay.
Our country needs change, and if it has to be on the opposite side, on the extreme polar opposite side, maybe it's what we need.
Privatized healthcare is a huge issue, and if it was a government-funded thing, that would be, you know, when there aren't...
Do you think the government would run it more efficiently?
In a perfect world, sure.
I'm liberal. I don't know exactly like where I stand, but I know like democratic socialist is better than conservative. It's just better than, it's the better option.
In what way?
When I think of it, I just think of like more open-minded people that aren't like as economically conserved.
It's another great site. Check out campusreform.com, I think it is, or .org, but Campus Reform on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. So to close up the show, make sure that you call the Senate. I'm going to give you the phone number here in a second. In the House, tell them that you want the wall funding and the continuing resolution in September. Crucial. It's worth shutting down the government if it's not in there, which remember, it's only the non-essential people. It's not going to actually shut the government down. Number two, make sure that you reach out to the millennials that are on the right side and make sure that you encourage them, work with them. Candace Owens and Kirk and all these guys, make sure you give them support. Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro. We need to get as many of the millennials out of this haze into reality that you've got to work if you want to get stuff. You cannot sit around and let the government take care of everything, and you got to get out of your safe space. So let me show you this. This is the number you're going to want to call. U.S. Capitol Switchboard 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. Thank you again for watching. This has been Eric Thompson. I am the Chief Deplorable. You can get a hold of me on Twitter, ET Talk Show, or Deplorables Show, or on Real.video now, Deplorables, or on Facebook, The Deplorables Show. Make sure you come back again tomorrow. We're going to talk about the education system in America, how it's destroying the youth. And I'm going to finish up the show here by leaving up the phone number so you can make sure that you call. Have a great day. Here's the phone number again. And I will see you guys tomorrow, but please make sure you go ahead and call, and let's get the wall funded. Take care. Goodbye.